Well, with T-Core's elimination after Chelsea did not want to push Cam or MJ too hard to keep T-Core in the game, Chelsea gave up a little bit of her game there and I think does have a harder game going forward. As for MJ, whether T-Core went or not, I felt like coming into this week, MJ was going to be in the best spot. So what did MJ do? She went and won HOH. And that's kind of becoming a trend this season where I feel like I've been talking about it for over a month now. People are winning HOHs at times when they don't need them. MJ could have played this week in kind of a middle position. She could have bought herself a week or two without a lot of stress, more importantly, without showing cards. Now as HOH, she 100% has to show cards. So that great position she could have been in, I no longer think she will be in. She is the HOH and she wants to nominate Angela and Chemo, which I think makes the best sense for her game overall. She has never really truly wanted to work with Angela just because she used the veto on Angela once upon a time. It was never supposed to be some long-term thing for MJ. And also, it was never going to be some long-term thing for Angela either. Angela is there to look out for Angela, which has been established long ago. Now, I know Leah stands are having fits because they want MJ to listen to Leah for some reason and target Chelsea this week, even though that makes no sense for MJ's game at this point in the game. On a regular HOH, maybe if MJ wasn't the HOH this week and was winning the double HOH and wanted to get out Chelsea in a double, that makes slightly more sense. But even then, I think it's a bit pushing it because we're at 7 still. And it's just not, it's a little too soon for MJ to be the one to make the move against Chelsea. That's way too early for MJ to take out probably her closest alliance member. I know MJ wants Cam to be her closest alliance member, but she always tends to make it that Chelsea is her closest alliance member. So I just don't think MJ should be the one to go after Chelsea on this HOH at Final 7. And I don't really think that MJ should be the one to take out Leah either. I think MJ putting up Angela and Chemo makes sense for her game as of right now because even though she has to show cards, and if she tries to take this shot at Angela and misses like a lot of people have this season, because production has and will continue to go out of their way to try to protect Angela most likely, that messes up MJ's position if Angela stays this week. I do think so. After MJ puts her on the block. Chemo, I think that also works for MJ. They don't have a good relationship. MJ is trying to establish a relationship with Rubina. So if somebody comes off the block, which I think only happens if, well, there's possibilities. If Angela or Chemo take themselves down, obviously, if Rubina wins veto, she probably takes down Chemo. If Leah wins veto, she probably takes down Angela. So there are a lot of interesting possibilities. I assume if Leah wins the veto, takes down Angela, then MJ is going to have to hurt the momentum that she has developing a game relationship with Rubina by then putting Rubina up. I just don't see her turning on Chelsea and Cam at all. In fact, MJ's already thrown Leah under the bus about her hardcore targeting of Chelsea, which is no surprise to Chelsea. Chelsea has known for weeks now that Leah's the one wanting to come after her, even though Chelsea did not make a move against Leah on her HOH. She took out Quinn instead, which Chelsea's decisions have made the game harder for her. However, Chelsea just works the hardest in that house. That's really what it comes down to. Chelsea is always maneuvering to make herself in the best position. Even with losing Tikor, which I do think makes her game harder, she's tried to establish a final three with Kimo and Rubina. She obviously has that final three with MJ and Cam. She has people that want to continue to take her further in this game, which is why no matter what happens, Chelsea's just the best at pivoting to put herself in the best position in the house, which she is doing once again with MJ being HOH, which worked for Chelsea anyway. And if Angela or Leah, at least one of them, go home in this double and Chelsea's still in the game, Chelsea has a great chance of making the end. And I assume winning. I think Chelsea versus MJ could actually be a close vote. MJ has a good story if she makes the end because of the first 2 weeks in the game when she was at the very bottom. She's fought her way to the top. I don't necessarily think she's played a good game overall. I really don't. Even though she kind of fell backwards into the best position last week because it was the stupid twist and it was a week where hardly any game was taking place, and the game that was taking place wasn't really good for anyone's game. Even in hindsight, I don't even think last week was good for Leah's game. Now that Angela could go home this week, I just feel like, yeah, Leah took out Tikor, but it probably shouldn't have been Leah to be the one to take out Tikor. That's some other mistakes that have happened in this game on some HOHs, because that too makes their games harder. I think Leah taking out Tikor took out somebody who was also seen as a social threat, like Leah is seen as a social threat. However, the main problem I still have with Leah's game, and I think it is just the problem with Leah's game overall, it's just so one-dimensional. Leah is great at clearly staying off the block and not making herself the big target to go home. That's about all she's good at. Maneuvering in this game never really works out. She tends to put all of her apples in one person's basket. It was Quinn for a while. Now it feels like it's Angela. Sure, you could say she tried to put some apples in MJ's basket too, but that didn't work. So clearly, Leah just kind of doesn't have it when it comes to maneuvering herself in this game. Something that MJ kind of does have, she has it because she has a lot of help from Chelsea, really. But nonetheless, I do think MJ has evolved in this game. Not that much. I see a lot of comments talking about how MJ, she started as such a bad player recruit, which is true. And now she's blossomed into a good player, and I don't really see her as a good player. I think that's, kind of overdramatic. But where MJ started from, she started really bad at this game. So she has taken a leap from, starting at the very bottom of the game. So she has definitely improved. I can't call her a good player yet, because anytime she finds herself in a good position, she does something to mess it up. And this is happening again with her winning HOH. She goes from being in the best position in the house to now having to show cards. And yeah, if MJ gets out Angela, though, I think it's great overall for her game, but also just the game in general. MJ, since the moment the feeds turned on, was the main person targeting Angela. If MJ is the one to take out Angela, it's kind of poetic, and it works for me. If Angela once again gets off the block and somebody else targeting Angela is in trouble because Angela saves herself or gets saved again or gets production's help to get saved again, well, it's kind of getting redundant. But then I guess that's what happens to MJ, like it's happened to a lot of others this season. The Leah stands got it shut up, though. You know, there's the fan base sometimes. If MJ is so dumb, and she is, we've said it all season, or at least I have, she lacks a ton of brain cells, which is why she's always in good positions but messes them up because of her lack of brain cells. But the fan base crying that MJ should be the one to take out Chelsea just makes no sense. I don't know if that's just Leah stans or what. I'm assuming it is. That just doesn't make any sense for MJ's game at this point in the game. At Final 7, it's not MJ's job to take out her closest ally at Final 7. This is just kind of how the end game of Big Brother goes. It can be a little less interesting than, say, the end game of Survivor. The merge, to me, is always the more entertaining part of Survivor. Survivor has a great build up throughout the whole season. Big Brother starts usually being way more interesting the first few weeks because it can be chaotic, especially this season, as we saw. The end game to Big Brother, though, is always about positioning yourself to be in the best possible position in the house. And as HOH, that's what you should do. MJ, however, would have been in the best position if she hadn't won HOH, like I said, because she could have just chilled for a week or two and kind of played at different angles, although I don't think she would have been able to do that anyway. Alas, still, if MJ could get out Angela, MJ's still in a good position. It's just Chelsea constantly is the one to maneuver herself into the best position, and she's doing it again. So, I mean, I can't take that away from Chelsea. Even though I feel like she made her game harder, not pushing for T-Core to stay, she still put in work to maneuver herself into a great position, and that's just where she is again. So, big ups to Chelsea. Big ups to MJ for winning another HOH. If she could get out Angela, it is a big deal for MJ. We'll see if that actually happens, or more importantly, if production lets that happen.